Has your fantasy season so far been a total and complete stinker? Well, it's not too late to turn it around and still have some fun. Don't worry about that team that has 2 wins or that team that has 3 wins and has no chance of making the playoffs. Still compete in your league because that's good sportsmanship. But instead, join Underdog Fantasy, a proud sponsor of the Fantasy Couriers. You can do daily, weekly drafts for single games or for multiple games. You can also join the Pick'em contest where you can choose, will a player get higher or lower? Will Josh Allen get higher than 273.5 yards or will he get lower? The options are endless. There is so much fun to be had with Underdog Fantasy Sports. Join now with the code Couriers and your deposit will be matched. Plus, you'll support an amazing, awesome podcast. Speaking of which, now on to the show.
What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Well, it's lucky week number 13. We are 2 weeks away from the playoffs if you're in a league that doesn't do something stupid like week 18 Super Bowl. And I apologize to teams, but not really, who do week 18 Super Bowls. That's just crazy because a lot of guys sit. But we are at the stretch run. I'm calling this episode Piecing It Together because I found a cool Lego background for our picture. So we are piecing together week 13. We got some cool listener questions and a game-by-game preview. How you doing, JJ Wang?
I'm doing all right. Honestly, I'm still recovering from that fantastic Monday night game that was over. I mean, I'm still feeling a little upset over our boy Josh Dobbs having a dreadful game. He's had a lot of turnovers with Minnesota. Not really a good game. But yeah, I'm still recovering from that winner of a Monday night game.
Making us look like mud, isn't he? I was thinking about that. Like, I fell asleep. It was so terrible. I couldn't even stay awake. I was exhausted and I
Now look,
wiped out. It was horrible.
yeah, oh yeah. That's I don't want to say fantasizable, but I cheer on a lot of people. I don't think I ever said Josh Dobbs was going to be,
But we
the
like
best
Josh Dobbs,
quarterback.
though.
I still like Josh Dobbs. I still like Gabe Davis. Shout out to Gabe Davis. Had a big game this week. I still like Gabe Davis, but I am honest with myself that these guys still have a chance. Like, look, like I'll admit, like I was high with Jerry Jeudy, right? I still like Jerry Jeudy, but Jerry Jeudy kind of sucks, and I'm okay to admit that. But do I not like him? No, I still like him because if he ever decides to be good again, I could be like, look, I never gave up hope, but I still like him. But
That's
yeah,
what all those Geno Smith people are saying.
we had to see Josh Dobbs fall in us. He's not the best, but he's a good story, and I still like the guy.
Yeah, I hope he comes out. It'll be interesting to see what comes out after they're going to reevaluate the quarter. Basically, they're going to say, Justin Jefferson, who do you want throwing to you? And that's who our quarterback is. That's what I pretty much gathered from that press conference is what they're going to say.
Yeah, maybe Josh Dobbs is a lot better with Justin Jefferson. I feel like
I think most people are.
That's what I thought. Most quarterbacks would be better with Justin Jefferson. I feel like.
So yeah, Justin Jefferson owners, you only have 2 more weeks to wait, and then you'll get 6 whole regular season weeks of him. 5, 6. He went out week 5, right, or something like that. But yeah, so if you're in redraft, that sucks. Hopefully you're going to the playoffs. If you're in dynasty, maybe you bought him on the cheap from somebody who was just angry at him right now. That would be the hope for you. But speaking of guys that, you lost some weeks for and had some good weeks, and then Zach Moss decided to be good. If you still have Zach Moss, congratulations. You've got 2 to 3 weeks into the stretch run. Jonathan Taylor is having hand surgery, out 2 to 3 weeks. Pastor Jacques and I did that trade the other week from the bowl prediction show. I got Gibbs and I gave him Taylor because I needed the guy. And I felt bad last week because Gibbs looked like poo and Taylor looked great. But I do think this week Gibbs will outscore Taylor. I'm going to guarantee it.
I would probably say you're a winner on that one.
And I texted him. I said, dude, I feel bad, but not really. He's like, I'm hoping for the stretch run in the fantasy because you got to get through that first week of fantasy of it 3 weeks.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Playoffs,
It's been a bit of a disappointment with Jonathan Taylor. Well, not a bit of a disappointment. It's been a huge disappointment for Jonathan Taylor this year. So, yeah, I guess you kind of need your hands when playing running back.
Yeah, so I'm Oh, crud. I got to pull up. So, yeah, so we have a bunch of cool listener questions this week. I got to skip the first one because I got to pull up some more pictures. But Brett's got a couple for us. First one is a start question. So he's got some wide receiver quandaries going on right now. I'm pulling up our conversation here, and he just traded for Hollywood Brown, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But on his bench, he's got to start one of the three people. He's got Hollywood Brown. He has got oh golly, man, I am losing my mind here. I had it all in front of me, man. He's got Hollywood Brown. He has, and we're gonna let Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and I think that and D Hop was his third one that he was talking about. D Hop. He didn't put that in the questions we had. I knew there was a third guy, but D Hop. Who would you start in your flex this week if you were him?
I'll probably go Rashee Rice. I know it's kind of what you've done for me lately. I'm not a huge fan of Marquise Brown at the moment. I mean, he's probably the best. I don't want to say the best wide receiver, but over the period last. But D Hop's got Will Levis thrown to him. That's scary, but still would prefer the receiver getting thrown to by Patrick Mahomes. I guess he seems to be his number one kinda receiver. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I told him it's one of those coin flip kind of things. I said I just, if it's close, it's like, do I start D Hop because you know what D Hop is and how good he is, and Levis does like him. Rashee Rice seems to be coming on. He's the new hotness. Yeah, it's I'll agree with you. Even though I did tell him a second ago, I did tell him Hopkins in our conversation. We were just talking, but yeah, I think I will go. I think I'll go with you on that one. Also, he wanted
Yeah,
us to.
right.
I'll go with Rashee Rice. I'll ride the new hotness. It is a flex spot, so it's you're hoping it's a prayer.
I'm just a fan of the new. I can't get over that. I mean, it's something that I'm trying to break, but I can't. I mean, I'm a fan of the new
Rookies.
hotness.
You're a
Rookies.
fan of
What?
rookies.
I'm definitely a big fan of rookies. So I
And
mean,
Hollywood Brown poops it lower for me too, because it seems like the Dorsch is popular again. It seems like Kyler Murray has been targeting the snot out of Greg Dorsch. You saw me pick him up everywhere. I was like, I'm following the targets, man.
yeah, I
So
mean, I
that
guess it's the
lowers Brown.
right. It's the right thing to do. I mean, but Kyler Murray. I mean, it all depends on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray sketches me out. I know I have a lot of people like him, but I mean, Kyler Murray sketches me out, man.
Yeah,
I'm
I love me
scared.
some Kyler. So he wanted us to evaluate this trade he made. So late season trade. He's looking for the playoff run. He's the number one seed right now, I believe he said. So he traded away Raheem Mostert and JSN, and he got Bijan and Hollywood, the aforementioned Hollywood Brown. What do you think of that trade for the playoffs? Do be noted that week 16 for Mostert is Dallas and week 17 is the Baltimore Ravens. So that I thought about that after I was having a conversation with him, and it adjusted me a little bit of my thoughts.
I mean, I feel like you would rather have Bijan than Raheem Mostert, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, JSN and Marquise Brown, I feel like that's just a wash. I mean, I feel like that's kind of even because JSN hasn't really done much. Get you what 7, 8, 10 point. I mean, Marquise Brown can get you that. I mean, that's not really all that, but I mean, I guess it just depends. Like Bijan Robinson and Raheem Mostert. Most people would pick Bijan over Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I
Especially,
told him, I said, JSN right now, he is the best receiver in Seattle, but that's 3 catches for 40 yards. So
yeah,
you're not doing anything in Seattle. And Bijan's coming on, and Mostert, he was worried about the diminishing in carries. I was like, A-Chan will probably get hurt. But, Mostert's looked great this year, but those 2 games scared a crap out of me, which is going to mess me up too. I got him in
well,
some
yeah, I
teams.
mean, Uh, Bijan is definitely the safest play out of all of them because we've seen Mostert can lose his job rather easily
Yeah.
for some reason and get hurt. But even though he's been pretty healthy this
He's
year, I
been healthy
mean,
this year. Yeah.
overall. So, but I mean, for some reason, he can easily lose his job when another running back randomly shows up. So I think Bijan is the right call here.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Forrest has quite a quandary here. He has Lamar Jackson on bye. Listen to this starting lineup. It's ETN, Kyron Williams, CD Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Christian Kirk. Logan Thomas is tight end, so his tight end's not that great. He's got Kincaid on the bench and Puka on the bench and Nico Collins. So he's got to get a quarterback for this week. Okay. His bench, his bench is Montgomery Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Nico Collins, and Puka Nakua. Who would you drop to pick up a quarterback for bye week?
Can you just? I mean, do you need the win?
But I think in the problem is the grand scheme, you need to start a lineup. So that's you got to submit a lineup. We're gonna go with common decency of like the common sense thing would be don't start a quarterback and take the loss. Yes, but we're gonna go with competitive fantasy because we're professional podcasters.
So, say the running backs again.
Okay, so the people I was gonna say Logan Thomas.
Honestly, I would probably say Brian Robinson.
Would you drop him over a tight end?
Oh, I thought who's the tight end we could drop?
See, Kincaid's on bye week, and that's his problem. So he has Logan Thomas in his tight end right now. So would you drop Brian Robinson, who could fill in if needs be?
I would probably drop Kincaid in that quarterback, but
even though because I was thinking as a tight end, even though he's been good, you can struggle through with Thomas versus Kincaid, correct?
Yeah. I think Logan Thomas is a pretty decent tight end. And you might be able to get Kincaid back after you drop him somehow. So you just never know.
I would say wait until Sunday morning at like 11:45, drop Kincaid, and then try to get him back on waivers would be my guess. But I mean, if you don't get him, that team is so good. Tight end's not going to change a whole lot.
Yeah, because you don't want to give up a top running back because you don't ever know when injuries can happen.
Yeah, and running backs drop like flies. Yeah, they drop. So Vance wants to know, big kicker question: Lutz or Koo?
Oh, I love Koo, man. I'll pick the answer to every question that involves him is Koo. There's just no doubt.
He's quietly having a spectacular year for a kicker.
I love it. I love this guy, man. He's ever since I've seen the video of him of his soccer kick. I mean, this guy's amazing.
All right, Dinesh wants to know, pick a defense for this week. Jacksonville versus Cincinnati, Los Angeles Rams versus the Browns, Atlanta versus the Jets. Okay, the end. The Rams versus the Patriots, the Colts versus the Titans, Cardinals versus Steelers, and Jets versus the Falcons. It's the Falcons, right?
I mean, I kind of like the Rams a little bit on that. Jacksonville's okay too because Cincinnati's going through the quarterback situation. But evidently the Browns might have to go back to PJ Walker, and we know how PJ Walker, how good he is. So I mean that might be a good play as well, considering that offense is good, but I mean the defense is, so it's gonna be low scoring.
Yeah, so you're letting the Jets slide. I'm going against Tim Boyle.
Well, then go against Tim Boyle. I mean that's
it's like Falcons are my call. Falcons fine too. Yeah,
you just named off like 12 teams so fast. I really couldn't remember everybody you said.
I'll give you 3. Jacksonville.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna go with the first one that I said.
Jacksonville, Cincinnati. That would be one you could almost even hold because their defense isn't terrible throughout the season. Would be my guess. Joe wants to know: I need a receiver to pick up, or should I just play Cooper? And I don't know. We'll answer it because it says Cooper, so I don't know if it's Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is in concussion, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. I know DTR was in concussion protocol. I haven't heard anything about Amari Cooper.
Maybe not.
So I would assume that it's Amari Cooper. Yeah, it's dangerous to play him. I mean, you might have to alter that situation. That's a definite.
Let's see. Amari, he had the rib X-rays are negative, so
it's a dangerous play if you're starting.
So yeah, it depends upon who's on the waiver wire too. Like if you got Amari Cooper at least as a wide receiver 1 versus picking up like the 4th string. It depends what's on the waiver. If you got a decent wide receiver 2, it's very tempting with that terrible offense right now. Jared wants to know Minshew or Carr.
Oh, that's stressful. I'm probably going to go Minshew.
He's got Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Oh, wait, no, Minshew's Indianapolis. Who do they play? I got that pulled up somewhere.
I mean, I would say Minshew. I mean, Carr just hasn't been. No matter who they've played. And plus, I'm going to go Minshew.
Carr's got the Lions in the shootout. And then finally, Philip has Josh Downs or Jerry Jeudy.
I would probably go Josh Downs. I mean, it hurts to say, but I mean, I think there's more of an upside for Josh Downs than Jerry Jeudy at this point.
Wasn't Jerry Jeudy's stat line last week 1 of 3 for 10? I think it was. I think that was
something. It was something like that bad.
Bad. So yeah, here we go. game by game preview. Okay, here we go. We are in week 13. Week 13's got some brutal teams off. The Ravens and Bills highlight quarterback quandaries you're gonna have. The Bills, you know, they got you're probably starting the running backs. You got Diggs, you got the Ravens. I mean, luckily Mark Andrews is already hurt, so you're not missing anything. The Bears are out, so your boy Fields. Do you have enough starting quarterbacks this week?
Oh, I always got enough starting quarterbacks, bro.
Maybe. The Vikings are out, so it's allowing them to heal the Giants. There's nobody from there. If you're starting Giants, you know Saquon's killing us all right now, and the Raiders. So you're gonna miss out on Devontae Adams and good old Joshua Jacobs. So, and then next week in week 14, get prepared. The Cardinals and Commanders are off, so you're gonna be in trouble. Your Cardinals and Commanders. So let's get into week 13, the week that is coming. Starts off Thursday night with the Seahawks getting plowed by the Cowboys. And it looks like Kenneth Walker III is doubtful. That just came across the wire right before we're recording here. So are you Charbonnet? Where does he fall for you for the week?
I mean, I don't even know if I'm starting Charbonnet at the moment. I mean, I just don't. You really can't expect anything out of him because he hasn't showed anything. So once he shows something, then I think you can talk. But until then, unless you're just super desperate, I'll leave him on the bench.
Yeah. So are you starting any Seahawks this week? Even Metcalf, like, is Metcalf at that point where Metcalf versus the Cowboys, you will have to I mean, do you have to play him because you probably drafted him as your 2, right?
I mean, if you like I said, I mean, this all like I mean, I don't see anybody just right off top being like, "Hey, I've got to bench DK Metcalf." But I mean, if you randomly got somebody on your bench that's had a good few weeks, I mean, I wouldn't see anything stopping you from benching Metcalf or Lockett or any of them. Just knowing that these guys can go. I mean, the offense can go off.
Geno Smith or any Patriots quarterback?
I'd probably still take Geno.
And Tony Pollard, is he a top 10 running back this week?
I doubt it.
I mean, the Cowboys should roll this game, correct?
They should.
If you're listening to this on Friday, we'll see if we're right. Let's get to Sunday. There's some putrid games this week. The Chargers at the Patriots. This could be one of Bill Belichick's last games in New England, quite possibly. And then maybe he comes over here to DC. We're looking there. Eckler has been down. Patriots defense hasn't been stellar, but okay-ish. Who are you more comfortable starting this week, Eckler or Ramondre?
It's going to sound weird to say, but I think I might go Ramondre here. I think Eckler kind of scares me. Like maybe it's like falling off a little bit. I mean, his running is weird. He's just not doing a lot of yards. His receiving is okay. It's hit and miss. But I think Ramondre is a little safer. That's not saying much, but
yeah, I mean, I think Ramondre's had some okay weeks. Like
yeah,
they're giving him the
okay.
ball. They're just not
Yeah,
getting anywhere else. So
it's a
PPR
bad it's a bad team.
Yeah, so the Chargers will get to 5-7 probably, or the Patriots will win this just to mess with the world, right?
I mean, it's possible. The Chargers lose games constantly.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I love it. I love being able to say the Patriots are terrible. Yep, so that game I don't want to watch. Next game, Lions at the Saints. This could end up being a shootout, right? So this might change your car thoughts. You don't think so?
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Any of these games could be shootouts. I'm not saying it's not. The Lions have struggled over lately. I feel like this might be one of those games where the Lions are just better, and I don't see it as a shootout. Maybe the Lions score a lot of points, but I'm just not impressed with the way Carr and the Saints have been playing.
Olave is a true game time. They're not sure. His status is up in the air right now.
Especially if he doesn't play. I mean, it's going to be even more trouble.
Imagine if he doesn't play. I was trying to pull up real quick. I forgot to look up what Shaheed's what his status was because he went down last week at they might both set out. So lock and load A.T. Perry, baby.
Maybe.
But this is going to be the game of old Alvin Kamara versus new Alvin Kamara. So who has a better game, Jahmyr Gibbs or Alvin Kamara?
I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a better game. I think overall his season's been a little better than last year. I know he has a little down week last week, but I think Gibbs would be better.
That's the game I'm watching because I'm playing both of those guys on one team. And how about Jameson Williams or any Saints receiver?
I mean, I get Jameson Williams right now because I don't even know any Saints receivers who's going to
It's
play
what
yet. So
A.T. Perry.
yeah,
I'm
so
done
I
there.
mean, I'd at least Jameson Williams caught a pass last week.
Yeah. So
Or
so the Lions could roll this game without those two receivers. That would be brutal. This could be Taysom Hill lining up at receiver, I'm pretty sure. So maybe that's who you need to lock and load because he'll get like 80 catches. Falcons at the Jets, another stellar game going on here. This could be a defensive brutal battle. Brees Hall and Bijan are probably the two star highlights in this game. Is what I mean, Bijan will state right now as better. Which one has a better week this week? And is Bijan still better than Brees long term? Say the
I
Jets
think
have
he's
Aaron
still.
Rodgers next
I
week.
mean, I think it's Bijan both answers. I think he's still better than Bruce. Well, that one's a little close. I think overall he's gonna be a little better, and I think he's gonna be a lot. I mean, it's cutting splitting hairs there. But I
Uh,
think for the week it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Bijan as well for the week as well.
News that just came out. They just had Aaron Rodgers was designated to return from IR. Not happening. But that's beside the point. If Aaron Rodgers comes back and plays this year, he's a complete and total moron because they're going to be 4-8 by the end of this week. Last question for this game: Garrett Wilson or Drake London?
I'm thinking about Drake London. I think he might get 85 yards. I don't. It's Wilson might. Well, Drake London might get 5 yards too, but I think Drake London's a little bit safer.
They're both scary, man. They're both
Oh,
scary.
but they're both terrible plays right now.
Now we're going to the 2-10 Cardinals versus the stellar Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the worst 7-4 teams I've ever seen play football in the history of the NFL. Who you have both guys on your team? Who do you play? Najee Harris or Jalen Warren?
I'm
Najee took over.
going to go. I'm still going to go Najee Harris. I'm
Yeah,
not. I feel like they said, "Hey, we're going to give the ball to Jalen Warren," and they lied to us, and Najee ended up having a bet. I mean, so I'm just going to stick with Najee if I got to play one of them.
Greg Dortch or George Pickens? I just want to hear you
Probably.
say it.
I mean, both of them. I'd probably still say Pickens because it's hard to say Dortch, but I mean, I understand if you want to play Dortch.
I'd play Dortch there. Just keep an eye on it
Yeah,
again. If you got a spot like even in Dynasty, if Kyler likes him this much, he's in year 4, so they'll resign him to play through. But he's targeting the crap out of him, so it's just
yeah. I
something to
mean,
keep
it's
an eye on.
definitely, yeah, it's definitely an option. I'm not going to pick on anybody for doing that.
Hey, this game also does feature probably we'll see 2 of the probably top 5 tight ends in the next 6 years. So you're looking at McBride and Freiermuth. Who has a better game this week?
Well, I mean, I hope. I mean, I like both.
I like them both.
I think McBride probably. I think McBride.
Yeah,
I don't
and
see
the
the I
Steelers
don't
win
see
to go 8-4.
Pittsburgh.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. It's crazy.
The Colts versus the Tennessee Will Levises. We got a game of Zach Moss versus Derrick Henry. Would you start Zach Moss over Derrick Henry this week?
I mean,
You
you
can't,
could.
can you?
I mean, you definitely could. I mean, Zach Moss has some huge games been given the opportunity, and Derrick Henry over the last few weeks has really struggled. Even though he did get the 2 touchdowns last week, he's really struggled.
He
But
only has
I would
35
hope
yards.
that you got a situation where you could probably start both of these guys. Hopefully, unless your team is that good. If your team is that good, I mean, it really doesn't matter which one of these guys you start anyway. Your team's that damn good.
Yeah, I would say you should start Moss, but you know you're going to start Henry. Like, that's probably the answer to that question, 100%.
It depends
Michael
on how
Pittman,
desperate you are.
Michael Pittman or D Hop?
I'm gonna go Michael Pittman.
Okay.
He's been
Uh,
okay. He's been okay over the last couple weeks.
yeah, I love listening to the commentators. They think Will Levis is going to be really good. They're watching his footwork, not everything else. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like that because he's my third quarterback in a dynasty team.
They
Uh,
think everybody's going to be good. They're not allowed to say bad things about anybody.
yeah, true. Um, the Dolphins versus the Commanders. After the Commanders lost to the Giants, this is going to be it's great because my daughter has a choir concert.
I will take that back. Steve Smith said some pretty harsh things about Jerry Judy. That was pretty funny.
Steve Smith doesn't hold back. So I'm glad my daughter has a choir concert at 3 p.m. on Sunday. I was like, no, it'll be about an hour, so I'll miss the last part of the Dolphins and the Commanders. So you'll be in charge of 3 to 4:30 on Sunday. All the stats from that time. And I'll get the rest of the day. But Dolphins and Commanders, The Dolphins defense actually, I think I saw, is the #1 defense from like week 5 to 12. Does that worry you about Brian Robinson?
Not really. 'Cause I mean, I understand what I got in Brian Robinson. I'm fully aware Brian Robinson might get me 9 points. But I mean, there is an opportunity to score me 25. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's all these like guys like Brian Robinson are a worry to you. You're not going into the game thinking, oh, Brian Robinson is a surefire 100% RB1. Be crazy to think that. But yeah, I'm a little worried, but I mean, I'm still going to put him out there.
That being said, Brian Robinson or Devon Achan, are you willing to roll the dice on him finishing a game, or are you going to start Brian
No,
Robinson?
I'm not rolling the dice on it yet. I mean, he got
I
me the
already
last
did it.
time.
It hurt.
Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, shame on. If I miss out, I miss out. Um,
Yep.
but like I said, if I need a win, I feel like I got to go a little. You got to weigh that in as well. But I think I'm still sticking with Robinson.
If your team looks like it's going to get obliterated and you're like statistically like really low,
Yeah,
I would go Achan.
yeah,
If it's
yeah.
close, yeah, good call.
But I mean, Robinson's very capable of dropping a 25-point game as well.
True. So the last couple of weeks, Sam Howell, even in defeat, has had more fantasy points than Tua because Tua's turning the ball over, and the Dolphins are still winning. What are the chances that Sam Howell has a better fantasy week than Tua Tagovailoa?
I mean, I think it's like 50-50. I mean, Tua
Uh,
might. I mean, if you go back and look, I mean, the
yeah,
games
oh, he's
are.
been better.
I mean, yeah, Tua has had some huge games. I feel like they were all early in the season when. But I mean, the offense is okay, but Tua's not impressive as a fantasy quarterback at the moment. And
Tyreek's
I'm
been
not gonna
killing
say
it.
Cal isn't all that impressive either, but he's somehow putting up points. So I think it's a 50-50 shot of which one scores more points. I'm gonna say Hal just because I like Hal better, but.
It'll be curious to see how he goes against Howard and Ramsey there if Ramsey plays like he's been playing his freaking mind out. So I can't disagree. Hal's throwing up 300 yards just showing up. So speaking of guys that
Yeah.
throw up 300 yards just showing up, the Houston Texans are hosting the Denver Broncos, who the Denver Broncos all of a sudden are 6-5. The Texans are 6-5. This is a big game for both teams who are making a playoff push as we're going in here. But Russell Wilson's gonna throw for what, $135 and 4 touchdowns or something stupid like that. Are both Texans receivers, the two big guns? We're looking at Dell and we're looking at Collins. Would you rather start them over Cortland Sutton, who's been hot recently and basically the only guy that? Where would you rank those three guys? How about ranking those three
I'm
guys for the
definitely taking
future?
both of them over Cortland
Right.
Sutton. I think the volume is way better. I mean, if Russell Wilson's only thrown for 134 yards, he might
3
throw for a
touchdowns though.
little. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but they're probably not all three going to Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's been playing good, but I mean, all three of them probably aren't going to Cortland Sutton. So I'd probably still go to the 2 Houston receivers and then Cortland Sutton.
I still would, but it's closer than I would think because I watched the game and Cortland
I
Sutton
mean,
is his first read and his second read, and then he throws to
close.
somebody else when he's double teamed. So, and he could have had a touchdown last week. I think he dropped on the end zone. But yeah, I think the Texans keep rolling. I mean, last week's game, I can't believe they lost that. I was like, man, they're up and coming, and then the Trevor Lawrence's one. The Panthers with I don't even know. I haven't even looked who's going to be there. Like the I guess they're having somebody step up for this week. The owner was like, yeah, whoever comes in, good luck. Basically, Panthers are playing the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers should be locked and loaded. Adam Thielen or Chris Godwin is really your only tough question of the week.
I probably want to. I mean, I sit both of them if I can. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you got to play one.
if I got to play one, I'd probably go. I'd probably go Adam Thielen. Probably, I think he's had better games than
Mhm.
Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin just disappears. I mean, Baker just doesn't like him the way Brady did.
You guys, I'm with you there for that game. But yeah, the Bucks should roll. That'll get them to 5-7. That's almost first place in the NFC South, which is abysmal. The Browns and the Rams. So the Browns and the Rams are one of the. There's 3 late games. The Browns and the Rams are the other game. The Browns at 7-4, who are falling apart. Them and the Steelers. Who's the worst 7-4 team? The Steelers or the Browns? Like just a general question.
I'm gonna say the Browns just because their quarterback situation is somehow worse than what the Steelers have got going on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I'm gonna say the Browns are worse.
Yeah, Jerome Ford has looked pretty confident, but does Williams top 100 yards and 2 touchdowns this week? Browns defense.
It's
Could be the top.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, even though the offense has been bad, I'm going to say no. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a real slobber knocker. I think it's going to be kind of low. I think it could be like the Minnesota Chicago game.
Oh, okay. Flip your coin.
But better.
Puka,
but better.
Can't be
if
worse.
that makes sense. It'd be a better. It'd be a better 12-9 game.
Oh, I don't know. No. Flip your coin. Puka or Cooper Cup? Who is it this week?
I'll say Puka maybe.
it's really what it is.
Scary. I mean, Cooper Cup is scary.
Yeah, it's been weird. Now the game that I think is gonna be, I'm glad I was like, 4:25. I'll be home by then. 49ers at the Eagles. This could be an NFC Championship preview right here. Right now, the 49ers in some places have a higher percentage people are thinking to make the playoffs. Do you think this game goes more defense? Is this going to be a barn burn? Is it going to be a low scoring 14-21 or a higher scoring 42-35?
I think it ends up being like the Buffalo game that Philadelphia was just in. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. Both of these teams are really, really good. I think the offenses are better than the defenses in this game, and I think that's how
good defenses. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both of them got good defenses, but I think their offenses are a little better. And I think it's going to end up being like the Buffalo game.
Debo or Devonta Smith?
I'm gonna go Devonta Smith.
Yeah, I think I would do. Debo is just the cog. We know what Debo is.
He did have a good game last week, though.
Yeah, I look for it. It's gonna be I hope it's a good game because that's the best game of the day. I wish they could have flexed that up to the Sunday night game. That'd have been spectacular. Sunday night we're looking at the Chiefs and the Packers. Chiefs are just
why would Sunday night be better than Sunday evening?
Because it's for the ad revenue. I mean, the nighttime games. You don't have to referee soccer in the afternoon.
I could care less.
You're old
about them flexing a game that's going to end at 11 o'clock so they make more money. I don't care about. I mean, a 4 o'clock game is better for the average human being on the East Coast.
They don't care about us. They're talking about taking the Super Bowl overseas. They don't care about us.
Well, I know they don't care about us. I mean, I'm fully aware of that. I mean, they can give two crap.
So back to the Sunday night game, which is the coasting along Chiefs that I just don't think, I don't know. There's something that just seems a little off about that team, versus the Packers, who somehow dismantled the Detroit Lions. Are they going to play the Chiefs as well as the Lions, or did they just pretty much play their game of the year?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be like this for the Chiefs all year long when they play a decent team. The Packers looked competent last week. I think it's going to be the exact same way. I think this is what happens when your players other than your quarterback are all, low. I'm not going to say low round, but lower tier guys. You got Travis Kelce, but I mean, he is only a tight end, and he's only one player. I mean, if somebody else is going to have to step up if it's going to work. Maybe Rashee Rice is that guy, but I hope he is. But I think it's going to be like this all year for the Chiefs. When they need to score, I think they will, but I don't think it's going to be like the Chiefs have been in the past.
Rashee Rice, Jalen Reed, or Christian Watson?
Oh, that's a tough one. I like all three of those characters. I think I'm going to go with Rashee Rice still, even though I do love both of those guys. All three of those guys. Some of my favorite guys right there you named.
Reed's growing on me, and then he pooped the bed, so I got to stop rooting for guys. And then they started. Then Christian Watson came out of freaking nowhere. What was that?
You got to take this. It's also Jaden Reed, and you can't be expecting wide receiver 1 numbers out of these guys. Yeah, they don't. I was going to be a little. I wasn't expecting
him to be that, but he's sort of like, because he's getting the running and the passing, which is spectacular.
Yeah, but he's going to have some bad games in there. But I mean, you just got to hope that it's like 60-40, there's just more good games than bad games. That's a start.
Speaking of those kind of guys, Deshaun Jackson is going to retire a Philadelphia Eagle. I just saw that.
That's the right call. I think that's when you think of Deshaun Jackson. I mean, you think of the Philadelphia.
Yeah, and last game of the week is going to be Monday night. It's going to be the terrible Cincinnati Bengals, who decided that Joe Burrow is their entire team and no one else can play football. Versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, this should be basically a obliteration of Cincinnati, correct?
And yeah, it should be, but we've all seen Jacksonville, right? I mean, we've seen what Jacksonville
Worst
can
8-3
turn
team in the
into.
league.
I mean, they can go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. I don't know who the bad guy was in that. Sorry,
Mr.
I
Hyde.
think it's Mr. Hyde. They can go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde in absolutely no time. And then once you think Trevor Lawrence is finally like taking that step, he's gonna be like, yeah, probably not yet. Still, even check this out.
You know, for a hot minute, they were the number 1 seed in the AFC for about 30 minutes till some games ended on Sunday. So
There was like everybody was like first seed in the AFC for like 10 minutes.
how about these guys? You're looking at Joe Mixon, Jerome Ford, AJ Dillon, Chuba Hubbard, Javonte Williams. Which of those guys? What? They all stink, but you got to start one.
I'll probably go Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford's been okay. He's been pretty solid. I mean, considering what you got him for and what he's had to work with. I mean, he's playing on a terrible team that's got absolutely no passing game, and he's still able to get yards. Not a lot of touchdowns, but I mean, the yards are there.
Yeah, the Mixon thing's killing me. I thought Mixon would get some touches. I was like, ah. So, okay, JJ Wang, that is our Week 13 slate. Best of wishes to y'all. Give us some wisdom, and let's get out of here.
Where's the wisdom? As I don't know as everybody knows, but I also play fantasy basketball as well. And being fantasy basketball, they're trying this is with real basketball, their new in-season tournament. It's kind of cool. I mean, the courts are different, but like the play is a little different. Like, so they do point differential. I think it's absolutely awesome because now the unwritten rule of not running up the score no longer applies. Because if you want to win, you got to beat some of these teams by 30. I mean,
awesome.
it's kind of cool. It's kind of different. It's not normally what you see. It's still going on. The end. I think the end is next week. The last couple of games. So if you get a chance, watch it. Point differential makes it like better than regular season basketball. I think it should just go like this all the time. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.